Okay, so we're going to talk about converting number of particles to moles, and just going to recreate this chart here again. Moles, you should have this chart. It should be pretty easy now to recreate this chart. And we're going to do moles to particles, and that is, of course, atoms, ions, molecules, formula units, anything. We talked about the conversion factor between particles and moles. We know that in 1 mole there are 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles. And so in going 2 moles, we divide by Avogadro's number. If we're given the number of moles and we want to find out how many particles are in that many moles, we multiply by Avogadro's number. All right? So this is the part of the chart that we are going to use for these types of questions. And an example would be, let's see, one from your assignment. Let's say this one. Let's say we have 8.05 times 10 to the 28 iodide ions. Okay? And of course that is I negative, okay? Iodide ions. And I want to find out how many moles, okay? Convert to moles. Okay, so this chart's going to be really handy because what you do is you say, all right, what am I given? I'm given ions. What are ions on this chart? They are particles. So I'm given particles, and to go 2 moles, I follow the arrow right here, and I go 2 moles, and when I go through this channel here, this is what I have to do. Really easy. So my solution, 8.05 times 10 to the 28. You divide. Now that is particles, right? Now instead of writing particles, actually I'm going to let you just do RP. And what that is representative particles. You'll hear me say that. So RP means representative particles. That's ions, atoms, molecules, formula units, etc. And you divide that by Avogadro's number. 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So this is particles, and if you want to take a look at your units, make sure they're lining up. This is representative particles per mole, right? And when you divide that, you're going to get moles as your unit. All right? So we'll get our calculator out, get it on, and we'll do that. Make sure you use your scientific notation button on your calculator. 8.05 times 10 to the 28 divided by Avogadro's number, 23, gives us, okay, see it's a really large number, but if you look at this, times 10 to the 23 to times 10 to the 28, that's a factor of like 10 to the 5, so that's thousands and thousands. So this is going to be okay. So we've got a lot of moles here. So 133,720, 0.9302. And so that's how many moles we have, and of course we want to finish this properly. Significant figures. We have 3 significant figures, so you're going to write that as 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, round this to 4, and then fill in the zeros until the decimal place. 1, 2, 3. And that's 3 significant figures rounded properly. Moles of, and you can put this to just to be very clear. Okay? So that's how you convert particles, representative particles, either ions, atoms, molecules, formula units, to moles, using our handy little chart. Questions? All right, so the next type of problem we're going to do is converting grams, or a mass of a substance, to number of atoms or particles. Okay? So here's the other part of the chart. What's the conversion factor between grams and moles? Again, really easy to remember, right? Grams per mole, right? So if we're going 2 moles, if you notice already, I don't know if you've noticed this already, but anytime you're converting 2 moles, that's this arrow and this arrow going 2 moles, you always divide. Okay, it's divide both ways here, from both sections. So converting 2 moles, divide. Always remember that. This chart will be easy to remember. And going away from moles, you multiply. So the question here I'm going to give you is, let's take one from your assignment there. Let's see, on the back page, let's do the first one. It says this, 300.0 grams of NaI. That's sodium iodide. 2 particles, okay, 2 representative particles. And because this is an ionic compound, they would be formula units, is what they would be called, okay? Not molecules, but it's ionic, so this is formula units. You'll see that in your text. All right, so if we just look at the big picture here, this is what we have to do. We're starting at mass. We have to go 2 moles, so I need to divide by grams per mole. Once I get to moles, I have to do another step. And I have to go down to representative particles. And so I take that number of moles and I multiply it by Avogadro's number. So with this chart, it's kind of handy to know which multiplication or division you have to do. You just follow the chart and do what it says at each arrow. All right, so let's do that. Mass divided by grams per mole. So I need to find the grams per mole of sodium iodide. Often that's the first thing you're going to have to do. If you have to deal with this part of the chart, boys, if you have to deal with this part of the chart, you always need to find grams per mole. If you're just dealing with the bottom half, you don't need to find grams per mole. So I've also had students that always find grams per mole for every question, and then they find out they don't need it. So don't do that, it's a waste of time. But for this question, certainly, we need grams per mole. So, sodium iodide, grams per mole. Should be pretty straightforward, there's just one of each. So what's the mass for sodium there? 22.9898, is it? Plus iodine is 126 point what? 9047. Okay, so we'll calculate that. Okay, and that's the grams per mole for sodium iodide. So that's this one right here, right? Right here, grams per mole. So now we do our first step, mass divided by grams per mole to get moles. So that's going to be 300.0 grams divided by 149.8945 grams per mole of that substance. So a little trick on your calculator. Well, I won't show you the trick, I guess. But if you don't have an answer button, which most of your calculators should, and you might not like this, but you could, this division by 149.8945 could also be a multiplication of 1 over 149.8945, right? You multiply it by the reciprocal. So you could do the reciprocal of the, whoops, what did I just do there? Quit. Second function, thank you. Oh yeah, that's why, not second function. So the answer reciprocal times 300. That's going to get you, should get you the same answer as if you did 300 divided by 149. Okay, so that's 2.0, 2.0014. And what's that going to be? Moles of NaI. Again, good idea to, during the question, just make sure you note what these numbers are, because you're going to have a whole bunch of numbers flying around and you might forget what they are, or grab the wrong number when you're doing a calculation. So we've got moles. Are we done? No, we've got to do the second step now, and that is now converting from moles going down to representative particles. So I simply take that number and use all the decimals on your calculator and multiply by 6.02 times 10 to the 23. And so I get 1.2048 times 10 to the 24. All right, so times 6.02. Make sure you write down what you did. Right, show your communication. And that's going to be formula units, or you can just put RP, okay, representative particles. And so we're almost done. Check your sig figs. Okay, there's 4 there. So do I have 4 sig figs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. So 1.205 around this one. And there's your answer. Okay, so there's molar conversions using the molar conversion chart. And I would strongly suggest you memorize this chart and just kind of use it to make sure that you're doing things right. And sometimes the problems will take you half a page, but make sure you show your communications and write down all your answers. Don't do everything on your calculator, okay? You need to A, communicate, and B, you need to make sure that you're not making any mistakes. And so if you write down and show what you're doing, if you make a mistake and you don't know where it was, you can always go back and check and say, oh, I got the wrong number here. I'm just going to take it from there. Okay, so those are some molar conversions for you. And I'm going to let you continue working on your worksheet now. You should be able to do every question on this assignment. So you can head back to the beginning there and keep working on that assignment.